Best solutions to modern problems are found in history. That's what our next guest claims in a brand new op-ed. The Wall Street Journal piece argued that the famed 18th century economist Adam Smith correctly theorized that economic growth rather than government was the only way to improve living standards and lift people out of poverty. Historian and author of In Defense of Capitalism, Rainer Zitelmann joins us now. Rainer, how can we look back at Adam Smith and say that that is synonymous with American success?
Yes, of course. This is the story not only for success in the United States, but all over the world. Remember, 200 years ago, before capitalism, 90% of the worldwide population lived in extreme poverty. 90%. Today, it's less than 9%. And so I think Adam Smith was right. Economic growth is the best recipe, especially to fight against poverty.
Capitalists are getting a bad rap. Capitalism and Adam Smith's theory and most Americans' theory, like me, believe that's the most compassionate thing you can do for the poor. Give them an opportunity to be rich. That didn't exist before Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And, you see it every day, also today. I'm very often in Poland. And in the 80s, Poland was one of the poorest countries in Europe with socialism. And then they started with introducing private property, free market reforms. And today, since 30 years, we call Poland Europe's growth champion. So Adam Smith has proved right time and again, even in countries that call themselves socialist. Half a year ago, I was in Vietnam, and they call themselves socialist or with the Communist Party. And in the 90s, Vietnam was the poorest country in the world, poorer than even African countries. And today it's amazing, this entrepreneurial spirit. They call themselves socialists, but I tell you, it's easier to find a Marxist in a university in the United States than to find in Vietnam. What was the reason? Private property, pro-market reforms. This is what always worked in history.
Yeah, Adam Smith wasn't for the rich. In fact, he had that normal, discerning eye towards the rich. He wanted to lift all boats. And here's what he said. Poverty, according to Smith, wasn't preordained, or above all, he didn't trust government. He points out that only economic growth can raise living standards. Continuous economic growth is the only way to raise wages, and a stagnant economy leads to falling wages. Are you worried, Rainer, that we're getting away from that in an effort to try to lift all boats with doing it the socialistic way?
Absolutely. Some month ago, the new Index of Economic Freedom was published by the Heritage Foundation. This is a ranking how economically free are countries all over the world. And for the United States, it was the worst ranking since they started in 1995. Today, even 16 European countries, according to this index, are more economically free than the United States. And this doesn't mean that things are great in Europe. On the contrary, also here in Europe, we go more and more in the direction of a planned economy. And this is, what you see also in the United States with what Joe Biden does with this Green New Deal. It's only another word for a planned economy. They don't call it a planned economy, but in reality, it is a planned economy. Take this. It's very important to understand the difference between the free market economy and the planned economy is in a free market economy, entrepreneurs decide what to produce. In the end, it's consumers' choice. In a planned economy, politicians and government officials decide what's to be produced.
And we're seeing that now. $600 million to environmental cause, $1 trillion here. Next thing you know, Americans can't get control of any of their money, and we lose that entrepreneurial spirit. You break it down brilliantly in your book and in this Wall Street Journal editorial. Thanks so much, Rainer Zitelmann. Appreciate it. Back in a moment.